Tell us a little bit about Nancy Ward. When she lived, what the state of the Cherokee Nation was doing during that time and how she was seen amongst her contemporaries.
Well, when she was born, it was, the 1740s. Every move you made, every breath you took, there was danger all around. And her birth had been foretold. There was a prophecy that there would be a girl child born to the Wolf clan that would rise to lead her people to greatness. They were kind of waiting on that prophecy to be fulfilled, I would say. And at a very young age, things started happening around Nanyehi that signaled that she might very well be that child. So as she was being brought up in the Cherokee culture, of course, it's oral tradition. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of telling the stories and between each other, not writing them down. When, she became of age, they knew that she was the fulfilling of that legend, that it was her. And so she was taught from a very young age, things that maybe most girls wouldn't be in on being taught, different languages. She had an aunt, her name was Lucy Ward, that was a lady in waiting to King George II's wife, who fell in love with Conestoga when he went to visit England on a ship called the Fox with his brother Attacullaculla. And she came home with him, became his wife. But she looked at Nancy kind of like she was her own, prodigy to help, teach things to. And, the smarter that she was, the better the chance that, number one, that she would survive. And, the country was being invaded from basically everywhere. The English, the Spanish, everybody wanted a piece of America. They wanted the wood, they wanted the minerals, they wanted everything that they could glean from these lands. And they didn't care who they had to take it from in order to do such. She was just born at the right time and in the right place. And, she knew, the likes of Daniel Boone and Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, chased her around to desk or two, and George Washington as well.
So she had ties with Daniel Boone?
Oh, yes. Nancy sold Kentucky to the Transylvania Company, who Daniel Boone was a representative for. They had, I think, a really good relationship, and they were able to hammer out the sale of literally the state.
She was connected with all these presidents and famous people. Well, how did she get that much stature?
Well, she was negotiating lots of treaties. She negotiated, with different tribes throughout the Northeast that allowed, George Washington actually to move freely through those lands. Had those treaties not been set in place, we would have been a warring fraction, with the early colonialists. I kind of, went back and forth with the Smithsonian Institute saying that, I couldn't prove that Nancy Ward knew George Washington. I said, well, we know that she wrote him letters. They're almost illegible. They're basically illegible, but it's from her to President Washington. And one of those letters was actually found in Thomas Jefferson's desk when it went to be refurbished. I want to say back in the 60s, that letter was, found in his desk.